Something wasn't right. Every morning, I took my medication at the same time, the same way, a small routine that kept me steady. But one day, I started feeling strange. My hands trembled, my thoughts blurred, and I could barely remember what I'd eaten for breakfast. At first, I blamed myself, age, exhaustion, maybe even stress. But deep down, something didn't add up. My pills, they were vanishing faster than they should have. Then one afternoon, while helping her tidy the living room, I spotted it, my pill bottle, tucked neatly behind her purse. My heart stopped. When I asked about it, she smiled. That calm, innocent smile, like nothing had happened. And in that moment, I realized, this wasn't a mistake. So I stayed quiet. Because if she wanted a game, I'd let her think she'd won. Until that morning, when everything changed. My name is Elaine Porter, and for the past 3 years, I've lived under my daughter-in-law's roof. After my husband passed away, my son insisted I move in with them. He said it was safer. "We'll take care of you, Mom." It sounded comforting at first. But comfort, I learned, can be a trap dressed as love. Her name was Candace. Beautiful, polished, always well-spoken. To anyone outside these walls, she looked like the perfect daughter-in-law, caring, attentive, polite. But behind closed doors, she had a smile that could make your skin crawl. It wasn't what she said. It was how she said it. Always with a sweetness too smooth to be real. At first, it was small things. My favorite mug accidentally disappearing. My clothes mixed with rags in the laundry. A mocking tone when she'd call me Mom. And then, the pills. Those little white tablets that kept my blood pressure steady, my heart calm, my mind clear. When I started feeling off, she was the first to notice. "Oh, Elaine, you look pale. Are you taking your meds properly?" She said it with concern, but her eyes glimmered with something I couldn't name yet. I began counting the pills. Every morning, before she came down for breakfast. At first, nothing seemed unusual. But by the end of the week, 2 were missing. I told myself maybe I miscounted. But I didn't. The next week, 3 more gone. I checked the cabinet, the drawer, even under the bed. Then, one afternoon, while helping her tidy the living room, I bent down to pick up a dropped hair clip. And that's when I saw it, my medication bottle, half hidden behind her purse on the side table. I froze. The label was facing me, my name clear as daylight. She came in just then, her heels clicking softly. "Oh. What are you doing, Elaine?" I stood up, holding the bottle. "I was about to ask you the same thing." For a second, her expression flickered. Then she smiled, that same smooth, saccharine smile. "Oh, that? I must have moved it when I was cleaning. You really should be more organized." She took it from my hand before I could respond. And that smile stayed, just a little too long. That night, as I lay awake, I realized something that made my skin crawl. She didn't accidentally move anything. She wanted me confused. Disoriented. Dependent. She wanted me powerless. I started paying attention. Every time I took my pills, she'd be nearby, hovering. Watching. If I forgot, she'd remind me in that honeyed voice. If I tried to handle my prescriptions myself, she'd insist, "Let me help, Mom, you shouldn't strain yourself." It was a slow kind of control, invisible, but suffocating. My son, Daniel, was too busy to notice. He worked long hours, often coming home late. Candace made sure I never had a private word with him. Whenever I tried, she'd appear, smiling, interrupting, changing the subject. I wrote everything down. Every date, every time I felt dizzy, every missing pill. I didn't know yet why she was doing it. But I knew one thing, she was careful. Too careful. And she thought I was too weak to notice. Whispers in the kitchen. One evening, I heard them talking in the kitchen. I had gone to get water, and their voices floated through the hallway. Daniel sounded frustrated. Candace, Mom's been acting strange. Are you sure she's okay? Oh, honey, she said, her tone dripping concern, I think it's her memory. I found her meds in the bathroom drawer yesterday. She keeps misplacing them. Maybe she needs a full-time nurse. My chest tightened. She was planting seeds, turning me into the forgetful old woman. Danielle sighed. Maybe you're right. I'll look into it. I walked back to my room quietly, my legs trembling. But in that moment, my fear turned into fire. She wanted to make me look unstable. Fine. Let her think I was losing it. Because from that day forward, I began to play my part. I pretended to forget things. Left doors open, asked the same question twice. I let her see what she wanted to see, confusion, weakness, helplessness. But while she was busy watching me fall apart, I was watching her. I started keeping a backup bottle of pills in an old cookie tin under my bed. The Betrayal bottle, the one she thought she controlled, I left half empty on purpose. And every evening, when she made my tea, I pretended to drink it. Until one night, when I noticed something odd, the taste. It was slightly bitter. The next day, I poured the tea into a plant by the window. Within a week, the leaves turned yellow and wilted. I didn't need proof after that. I knew. She wasn't just hiding my medication. She was trying to make me sick. The night I realized the truth, I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I sat there, calm and cold, and made a plan. If I went to the police, I had no hard evidence. If I told my son, he'd believe her. So I decided to let her build her own trap. I started wearing a small camera pendant my granddaughter had gifted me years ago. She said it was for memories. That pendant became my secret weapon. I wore it every morning when Candace handed me my pills, every evening when she poured my tea. I let her smile into the lens without knowing it. And as the days passed, she grew bolder. More careless. The moment I'd been waiting for came sooner than I expected. The morning. That morning felt different. The air was still, almost heavy. Candace came in with her usual bright smile. Good morning, Mom. I made your tea. You should take your medicine now, She placed the cup on the tray beside my pills. I noticed her hand trembling slightly as she poured the tea. I picked up the cup, swirling it gently. Then I looked up, my eyes steady. Candace, I said softly, you've been so kind. Taking such good care of me. She smiled wider. Of course, Mom. Your family. I nodded. That's what makes this so painful. Her smile faltered. What do you mean? I reached for the drawer beside me and pulled out a small flash drive. This, I said, is a collection of little memories I've recorded these past few weeks. You should watch them. Before she could respond, I stood, stronger than she expected, and walked toward the door. Her voice trembled. Elaine, what's going on? I turned, my voice steady. I'm going to the police. And then, I'm going to tell Daniel exactly what kind of wife he has. The color drained from her face. And for the first time since I'd moved in, she didn't have a smile. Daniel didn't believe it at first. Who would? Candace cried, pleaded, said I was confused, that I was losing my mind. But then I showed him the footage. In one clip, she accidentally dropped 2 pills into her pocket. In another, she poured powder from a small packet into my tea. Daniel went silent. Then, he turned to her, voice breaking. Candace, what did you do? She tried to explain, to twist the story. But the evidence spoke louder than her lies. The police confirmed what I already knew, she'd been lacing my drinks with mild sedatives, enough to mimic dementia symptoms. Her goal was to have me declared mentally unfit so she could take control of my assets, the house I still owned in my name, and the insurance payout from my late husband. She didn't just want me gone. She wanted everything. Justice, in silence. The day they took her away, she didn't look back at me. Daniel was heartbroken, not just for what she'd done, but for what he hadn't seen. For weeks after, he apologized over and over. But I wasn't angry at him. Evil doesn't always look like a stranger. Sometimes, it wears a smile at your kitchen table. I moved out shortly after. Bought a small cottage 2 towns away, quiet, surrounded by trees. I planted a small rose bush outside my window. Every morning, I sit by it with my tea. And I take my medication, on time, by myself. What that morning taught me. Sometimes, I still think about that morning, the one where I finally stood up, the one that changed everything. It wasn't just about revenge. It was about reclaiming control over my life, my voice, my truth. People underestimate quiet women. They mistake silence for weakness, calm for surrender. But the truth is, silence is power when you know how to use it. Candace thought she was playing a game. But I was simply waiting for my turn. It's been a year now. The roses are blooming brighter than ever. My son visits often, guilt still etched in his face. I tell him not to carry it. We all see what we're meant to see, sometimes too late. He's learning. Healing. As for me, I've learned something too. Kindness doesn't mean blind trust. And age doesn't mean helplessness. I found my strength again, quietly, patiently, one morning at a time. Sometimes, when I close my eyes, I can still see her smile, that polished, perfect smile. It used to haunt me. Now, it reminds me of everything I survived. Because I learned that even the calmest water can hide dangerous depths. And when people mistake your gentleness for weakness, you don't have to shout to prove them wrong. You just have to wait, for the right morning. If you felt every word of this story, if it reminded you that quiet strength is still strength, make sure to hit that like button. Subscribe to Ever Her Stories for more emotional, mysterious, and powerful stories just like this one. Because sometimes, the softest voices tell the most unforgettable stories.